a lot of vanilla, quite sweet. Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Lüning, Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today I have really a big grin on my face because this is a 50-year-old Glenfarclas bottle. Really rare, and there are only 937 bottles worldwide available, and the pricing is quite steep. It's 2,000 for a bottle. Yeah. The box is made of some leather imitate and with a metal inlay here. And it says 3, and this 3 means it's the third bottling from the Six Generations series. And I'm afraid I have no idea what number 1 or 2 had been. Here on top it says George Grant, 1874 till 1949. And on the inside there's the typical bulgy Glenfarclas bottle, in which also the 40 years old, the 30 years old, and the complete range of the elder whiskies are bottled. So, and in here is also this triangular telling. It's really hard to read. After the failed partnership with Leith-based Patterson Elder & Co., George vowed to never rely on outside investors again. In 1930, he purchased the freehold of Glenfarclas outright. Thus, the family ceased to be tenants. Yeah, very good. As the small company of Whisky.com also relies on. Here on the label it says date of bottling, April 24th, 2015. Number of bottles 937, and the ABV is 41.1. And this bottle is not artificially colored, so this is real color acquired over 5 decades. Yeah. And here it says established 1836, but the Grants bought into the company later. Not quite sure when, but they were founded. Glenfarclas was founded not by the Grants, which now own the company for 6 generations. And I'm happy. I got a sample from the distributor, so I do not have to open this really, really expensive bottle. And a collector would be happy, or will be happy, to have this bottle in his board, or a connoisseur will be happy to sip on it himself. Color really, really dark. So if you look at the evaporation rates of whiskey inside casks, then you can give rough estimates for the loss of ABV and the loss of volume. That's different. The loss of ABV is around 1.5 percentage points every year, and the loss of volume is even more because water is evaporating as well, and there you reach, say, 2.5% each year. And if the whiskey is quite old, then the cask gets dry, cracks are opening, and the evaporation sometimes is accelerating, and you never can say how much ABV you will have in the end. So in the beginning it's quite stable, and then the development is quite arbitrary. Here we have 41.1, and that means that from the full cask containing 500 liters, say 80% is evaporated. There's only a little left on the bottom, and from these 500 liters there are 100, 150, maximum 200 left. And so for this bottling, with 937 bottles, 0.7 liters each, you need 600 something liters. So you need, say, 5, 6, 8 casks to mix, and probably there might have been a cask or two which were already below 40. It is legally allowed to mix whiskey or casks below 40, which is the legal limit for whiskey, with whiskies with a higher ABV, but the resulting mixture from those casks has to be over 40. And here we have 41.1. Yeah. It's wonderful, full and complex. This is my second sip. And in the meantime, I started 20 minutes ago. In the meantime, it's full, a lot of vanilla, quite sweet, enormous amount of sherry, caramel, and, well, old dark fruits. Those really black dried fruits which you never are able to say, well, this has been some... So this is those old dry, unspecified fruit. There is some cask influence showing through, but very faint. The most of it is this sherry aroma and all this caramel and some vanilla. Yeah. Toffee. In the start, it's a little weak, but after a few seconds, the spiciness of the oak, the dark fruits, the sherry, everything kicks in and gives a enormous potpourri of aromas. And, well, its sweetness, its caramel, butterscotch, those raisins, and then a very light dark chocolate note appears, this single espresso, but it's faded away already. So they had a hint of a bitterness, and this is quite astonishing, because such an old whiskey, 50 years in sherry casks, means that those casks were definitely from European wood, because 50 years ago, 1966, no, 15, bottle 15, 1965, all casks in Jerez in Spain had been made from, well, Spanish wood. The exchange of woods and casks between the countries wasn't that normal. So everybody made its wood or its cask itself. It's called lumber, the lumber for the cask. by himself, and so this should be very intense European oak, but the bitterness isn't there. Yeah. Second verse, same as the first, Patrick Swayze. So it's stronger than before because the aftertaste hasn't faded away completely, and the second sip goes on top of that, and everything is stronger, and this espresso really develops to a single espresso with a dark chocolate, whatever, not that bitter, but definitely there. And my mouth is covered by all those intense aromas from the cask. Oh. Yeah, a really wonderful dram, and unfortunately too expensive for most of us, also for me. So I'm happy to have the chance with this small sample from the distributor. Thank you very much. I would never have opened that bottle myself. No. This is really for the normal use. It's too expensive. This is a bottle for the collectors or the very exclusive connoisseurs, and it's definitely that there are 937 connoisseurs out there who have really enough money to spend on that bottle. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, there's more to come. The next bottle will be a little bit cheaper, but it's nice to know how those really expensive bottles taste.